Moving forward, let's talk about Jake Sager. Now, he's a D-end from the state of Nebraska, where football is just in their blood down there. What is it like recruiting a kid from that area?
Well, it's exciting because they grow up from just a young age, playing football from very small age, following the teams, following the local teams, and so it is in their blood. And so it was exciting when I found out about Jake Sager and that he was a recruit, that he was a prospect, and he had an outstanding 2-year career at Sidney High School, playing for Coach Eckert out there. And he'd actually transferred in from the state of Oregon his first 2 years, and then he came into Sidney, Nebraska, which I found out is way out in western Nebraska because I drove out there. And we're excited about Jake. He's a very bright young man. He's played both at end, and he's also played inside. And I see that early in his career for us, he'll be a defensive end, but he'll also, as he grows, has a chance to play inside. But just a very talented young man, and is very passionate about the game. And that's just how it is out there in Nebraska.
Well, I'm sure you had to drive through a lot of cornfields to get there too. But let's talk a little bit about what he brings to the ISU Rushmen.
Well, he brings I think the tenacity, I think the toughness, and most of all, I think the leadership we're looking for in a young man. I think the thing that stood out when I talked to Coach Eckert about Jake is when I asked him some of the questions about the intangibles, he said, first and foremost, he's a great leader. And not just a leader by example, but he said he's also a vocal leader. He has the experience. I think the confidence that he can speak up to his teammates and say, "Hey, this is what we need to do." As evidenced by his 2 years there at Sidney High School, they had not been to the playoffs in quite a few years, and he took them, led them to the playoffs in back-to-back years as a junior and senior. He was a first-team All-State player. When you talk about the state of Nebraska and how rich their football tradition is, to be an All-State player, that says a lot about his abilities athletically. But we're really fired up about Jake and his future.
How unique is it to see a kid that young to have those leadership skills already?
It is unique in many ways. I think when I look at guys that have that type of leadership, I look to their coaches, I look to their parents, and usually there's people in their background that they've really looked to as far as their modeling. And he's got great parents, he's got a great coach, and he had another great coach in Oregon. So he has had some examples that have really, I think, helped him as far as understanding, hey, this is what it takes. But for us, we're always looking for those championship type people, and that's exactly what Jake is.
Now, talk a little bit about his parents. I hear you have a connection to Jake. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, this was a real exciting one for me to be able to recruit Jake just because of a personal connection that goes way back a couple years. And Jake's dad, Ken, was a teammate of mine at Western Washington University. And his dad was a great player, played tight end, was an all-conference tight end, and then he played for the Seattle Seahawks. And his mother, Becky, who's a teacher there at the high school, she was also at the college, was a college student, and they were both good friends of mine at Western Washington. So when I heard the connection, found out about Jake, and then I saw his tape, and it's been a neat story as we've gone through the recruiting process. They're an outstanding family, and I know they're very excited to be Sycamores.
Well, it sounds like he'll be a great addition to the Sycamore family. We look forward to seeing him out on the field next year.